Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you back. We had a little technical difficulty. My live session kind of shut down prematurely. I really do apologize for that, but sometimes you're going to have some technical hiccups and issues. So hold on one second. Yeah, I'm back again. That's crazy. So this session is not tied together to the other one, the previous session, but I'm still going to go for it. All right, so let's jump in where I was at. If y'all folks was watching, I was about to tie in Blender and show y'all folks how I got this character to start working really well. So let me show you folks real quick on another Blender. So I just opened up a brand new Blender. I got a cube, by the way. And if you didn't watch the previous version, just go back to the other one after this session and check it out so you can get up to this point. But if anything, for shits and giggles, you can still watch. So, or whatever, it's up to you. I'm gonna hit the delete key to delete the cube on the keyboard on Blender. And if you've never seen Blender, this is the Blender viewport. It's a 3D viewport, by the way. You can do animation, you can do 3D modeling, you can do a lot of different stuff in it. It's really awesome. So if y'all don't have it, I highly recommend for y'all folks to go to blender.org and get it, and definitely get it for the fact that it's free, because it's a really dope tool. It's an open source tool, it's a free tool, you're gonna love it. So let's go right back to Blender. If you don't know how to use it, I highly recommend for y'all folks to watch as many YouTube videos like I did until you get sick of it. But obviously, I did not get sick of it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every single video that I watched, even if it wasn't that great, or it was my videos, and my videos are not that great. They just, a lot of them are very long, drawn out, and some of them could be boring depending on my level of my knowledge at that point. But I think I've been doing pretty decent in Blender. I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst yet. And so let's go. We're gonna go to File. We're gonna go to Import and bring in an FBX file. So what type of FBX file am I bringing in? I'm bringing in actually the FBX from DeepMotion that I exported. So if y'all folks got a chance to see that, I hope y'all did in my previous session. If not, I'll give you a quick review. We'll go to DeepMotion, and DeepMotion actually shut down because I had an error. There we go, DeepMotion portal. We're gonna go back in. I love the fact that they have this option for us, this really dope software, because man, who doesn't like cloud-based communications? It's just pretty crazy. All right, we're gonna go in real quick and hold on one second, log in, and bam, don't save, and here we are. So we're back. What I was in was the library, and then I chose to preview my latest creation. Quick error right there on the screen, and then we're gonna click OK. I was showcasing this thing to folks so you can see my motion and stuff like that. This is my dance moves in the character, which is pretty crazy. If y'all folks didn't see it, I talked about that. And also I talked about how I used the green screen and how it benefited me. I highly recommend for y'all folks to use something like this to extract your actual moves and your data so you can get it working on DeepMotion. Green screen will work any kind of contrasting color from what you're wearing. I have some dark colors. I have black pants, brown shirt, and my dreads, obviously, and my skin color all contrast with what you see in the background here. Now, before that, I was using my regular floor, which is brown. I'm brown. If I had a brown shirt, all of that would clash, and the motion would look really, really crazy. So keep that in mind, folks, when you're doing your own videos. This is actual MP4 video that I used, and I edited out the sides so you don't see my uncle back here, and you don't see the cat that much. I have a cat that's in the background. So let's go to this download animation. This is the part that I ended at, that my live stream video crashed. So right here, you're gonna download FBX. So click download FBX, then you go and save it to your computer. Once you save it, you can move it to a folder, and I talk about this all the time, you know, content management, etc. So wherever you put your files at, you go over there to your favorite folders, subfolders, etc., and then merge it. Once you do all that, you go into Blender, you go to File, Import, and go to FBX, and then you scoop it back up. So you're gonna go, mine's is in, let's see, Mixamo I'm not sure exactly where I put it in Mixamo. No, I did not put it there. Oh, right here. So I got Peasant Man and I got Jennifer. So we're gonna go for Peasant Man. Click Import FBX, and that's it right there. And then hit play. Actually, this is not it. This is the export, the original export with the T-pose. So this is the original export. This is what the character looks like without having all of the DeepMotion data that went into the character and then pretty much was superimposed into the animatable rig. So you see the bone structure here, all these little silver rods coming out. This is actually known as an armature or / rig, where you get to pretty much get your character to move. So I can click in it. I can go into pose. Actually, I went to pose, and you can pose any of the parts. Hit the R key, rotate. You know, you can do different moves and stuff like that manually. But the benefits of using DeepMotion is you don't have to go in manually, and your actual video will animate through using a cloud-based AI, and will animate all of the rig's bones. So let's go out of here. Actually, we're gonna edit, undo, 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 and just go all the way out so that I can find that video, or not video, but that FBX file that I actually need. So let's go a little bit deeper out of that folder, and I think I put in my Blender folder. So actually 3D objects, Blender, models. No, is it in the models? No. Let's see. I forgot exactly where I put it at. Animation test. Yeah, I put it in the animation test. And man walking. No, not in that one. Mocap test male. Here we go. All right. So I believe it's in one of these here. I think it's this one. Let me go for the T-pose. Let's see if that works. Import. There we go. So now the character's in. Still looks the same, right? But the difference is that I got the actual animations built in now. All this came from DeepMotion. So hit play, and there you go. Now this is me dancing. Pretty cool, right? Now what you're gonna notice, if I move it on the timeline, you're gonna see that the hands go through the body, certain parts of the body, and it clashes because the AI doesn't know exactly where 100% to place every little part, and also doesn't know the physical size of the actual body as opposed to the rig itself. So it may move it at a little bit more degrees more than what it should, and then the texture that was created for the 3D mesh will go and merge through another texture. So it doesn't have that many limitations in terms of every single physical structure of redisplay that you chose to create, or to showcase with your character. So maybe like the outfit is baggy, this is that, big bone body parts or whatever. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you real quick through the Blender timeline. Go down to the bottom, and you can scroll in by using the mouse scroll wheel to see the full timeline from 0 to, I guess it's around 900 or so on these are keyframes. So around 900 plus keyframes is where it was recorded from here to here. So all these little triangle things that you see here, these are known as keyframes. And I talked about that in my previous videos. If y'all folks don't know about it, pretty much this is how each of the bones get to move. So you can actually have multiple keyframes for each bone. So say this keyframe here, this could be for every single bone. But when you go to individual bones, it will show you other keyframes. So they may be at different points. So you have to look at this as all the possible 3D data in animatable format of say XYZ coordinates for a particular point in space, in 3D space. So good example would be, let me go to object mode and then click and select the actual mesh, and I'm going to hide it so you can see everything that I'm talking about. So let's go to select the armature, then go to pose, and now you get to see a little bit more detail of the actual armature. So this is the armature that was created for the character. You can go in and you can see where the points are actually at. So if every single point in 3D space was detailed and showcased on the screen, you would see like a matrix of dots and numbers and rows and columns and stuff like that, but they don't showcase it. So you may not know exactly what coordinates in the plane coordinates of XYZ this point is. But say you chose to rotate and you chose to move it, you can actually see it over here where you go to transform. So you can see X, Y, Z coordinates, and you can move it, and you can start to see rotation, location, and scale. So these things tell you at what particular points is what. So say I wanted to move, see that? I'm moving in the X. This is rotating in the X direction. So around the X axis. So here goes the X axis, here goes the Y axis, here goes the Z axis. See X, little X with the red, Y, and Z. You also can go in and you can showcase in detail at great depth the differing things that you can sense. So what I'm looking for is, hold on one second, origins, all, hold on, no. Axes, no. I'm looking for, let's see, visibility, viewport display. Here we go. Viewport display, and put axes. All right. So axes and names. And so you should be able to see every little detail, but hold on one second. Go to object mode. Select this, viewport, axes. There we go. Names. All right, so with the axes and the names, you can see every little detail, every axis for each point that will be rotatable, or you can move from left to right. So I'm just giving y'all folks a bird's eye view of what you would know, how you could tell what is what in terms of the keyframes. Because like say you was choosing this point, you can't do it in object mode, you got to go to pose mode. So you chose this point as a reference to rotate upon, or to scale, or you can say like change locations or whatever. You would have to click and select that bone, and then it would be, say, this keyframe. Let me move the timeline to that keyframe, and hold on one second. So right now we're on the spine. It moved because it chose a different point. So say it was the left shoulder. See, it says left shoulder here for the bone, and I wanted to rotate it or whatever. So this would be the keyframe here at this point in time. So if that particular keyframe, I can actually rotate and move it, and it will reposition for that particular point in space. Now if I select this bone, it's going to be another keyframe for this bone in a different point in space. Now for the same identical bone, you cannot overlap keyframes. Like you would actually have to be at that exact point in space to change the keyframe. So right now what I'm at in terms of the timeline, I don't have auto keying working. I have auto keying off. So if y'all folks watch my previous videos, you know what auto keying is. Pretty much when you select it, it turns blue. And that means that you can automatically get keyframes based on whatever move you chose to make for the body. For, well, not body, but the actual joints and the bones. So say I wanted to rotate this right now. Once I select the left click mouse button, or I hit enter, a keyframe is going to be created. And as you can see, it's for the 128th frame. So right now I'm on a 128th frame. Start frame is 1, end frame is 250. So this is what you can set. You can choose to set these, and this is meaning where do you want your animation to start, where do you want it to finish. That's what this means. This right here is the actual frame that you're on. So I'm on the 128th frame, from the 1 frame to the 250th frame. So what like I said, what I'm talking about in terms of frames, this is basically each individual motion for each individual bone. Could be particles too on Blender, but right now we're on just this particular bone rotating upon a specific axis, or scaling or moving the location. But for now I did a rotation, as y'all folks saw. So it created that keyframe for the 128th key frame, or I should say frame itself. So this particular keyframe, I can't even notch to it. I can't even move to it based on the timeline. So I learned what to do to some degree. Sometimes you can move from one keyframe to the next keyframe using the actual arrow keys on your keyboard, as opposed to using your mouse to move it like this. See, right now I'm using my left click mouse button, and I actually selected this bar up here to move around. And now I'm clicking the keyboard on the arrow keys on my keyboard. So you can do that kind of stuff. I just wanted y'all folks to see some of these things, the functional things that you're gonna have to understand to some degree in terms of how the keyframes work and how you can rotate, how you can move. If you don't know that stuff, then you won't be able to pull off animation corrections and stuff like that. So now what I'm gonna do is go back to object mode. I'm gonna hit alternate H and bring the body back, so you can see how I fixed a lot of the parts. So as you can see here, some of the flesh is moving into the actual stomach, or you can see the elbow moving in over here to the chest. How I would fix that, I could use the left arm here or the left forearm, and I can rotate on a specific axis. So let's go back to pose mode. So say I wanted to rotate, I hit the R key on the keyboard, and I can also use the arrow keys to rotate left or right, and I can hold it. That's holding it. The left, that's going to the right, and this is going to the left after selecting the R key on the keyboard. See that? So I can rotate also with the mouse. This is moving it with the mouse very fast. So there's different things that you can choose to do. You can also go to this particular one, and you can rotate as well. Same way, left or right. And as you can see, hold on one second. If you look in this area where it says rotation, you're going to get to see which axis is rotating upon and what points of space it's going to change based on this joint that is moving on, or bone. So you'll see the different numbers that is repositioning itself at. So right now I'm just moving frames. See the frames hopping left to right? And then say you wanted to rotate, you just hit the R key. Now it goes in and creates those two little arrows. See those two black arrows where it says left arm and right arm? Or not right arm, but the left arm on the top up here. That little double arrow. So that just means that you entered the actual rotation mode. So now I'm gonna rotate like that. So right now it's waiting for me to hit the enter key or the left click mouse button. So I hit the enter key and watch the keyframe turn yellow at the bottom at 127. See that? So now I can move the mouse without it rotating. So down here, 127, it highlighted in yellow. So only that particular keyframe was changed for that particular joint slash bone. Now we'll click this one, and this one is a different one, so it's not highlighted in yellow. So I can move that one if I wanted, and I messed up with that. So I went to 126 because I hit the left arrow, and that's just jumping back and forth keyframes, like I said. So say I wanted to fix the 127 keyframe. Now what we're gonna do is hit the rotate or R on the keyboard, and now you see those double arrows, and then I get to move it a little bit more left to right, whatever. And then depress the left click mouse button. When I do that, there goes the yellow keyframe indicator that shows up. And just to double check, you zoom in with your mouse scroll wheel to see if any keyframes is behind it. And if something fell and dropped, what happened there? I don't know. It looked like they shifted. So I just moved it by mistake with the shift key. I depressed the shift key and then I moved it by mistake going down or up. So I didn't realize you can do that with keyframes, but I guess I just learned something there. So there we go. That's just one little small slight adjustment. So you have to do that for every single, this is the thing that's tedious. For every keyframe reference, you have to actually change throughout the timeline. You have to change each joint that has an error. So it might take you a half an hour, might take you an hour or whatever, but it's great to do just to fix up stuff. So I'll show you folks what I mean. So a fast way of doing it, let me get rid of the names and all that stuff so it doesn't look confusing. I'm going to get rid of the axes. Now you should by this point understand the axes, XYZ coordinates for each joint, each bone or whatever it's going to rotate upon, and the keyframes that can be produced. When you see keyframes like this, that means that this motion has been duplicated, so it's basically going to freeze itself for a particular frame. So from 127 to 128, whatever motion was locked in, it's going to be the same motion from that point to this point. So when you see the orange like that, it means the whole frame has been froze for that moment in time. So that's that. But let's go back. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the 0 point where my body first started moving. So let's check how this actually starts. And we're going to zoom in a little bit closer, scroll this over. Just play with your mouse scroll wheel, depressing it and everything, and then you'll be able to figure out this. And scrolling in, zooming in and out by scrolling the scroll wheel. And depressing here, you can move it around, whatever. Alright, so what we're going to do is move by selecting this with my left click mouse button. I'm selecting the blue timeline and I'm moving it and sliding it. If you slide it fast, you'll see the motion actually click around. So you see every little frame of rotation, what was created frame by frame. So if you move it real fast, you get a full animation motion, full motion going on with the animation, as you can see. See, so let's go from 1 to, now it looks like it's going fast forward because I'm going so fast. See that? So now he's moving in fast forward. So that's basically how Blender animates to some degree. It basically uses each frame, each bone, each joint, and you frame them each by individual frames. And it may not look the smoothest because it may not be accurate when you're trying to create it yourself, like frame by frame. Say you wanted to create it from scratch and move each joint. I tried doing that a while back with Blender, but it takes a lot of time to figure out how to do an actual walk cycle, and forget about dancing. That would take a lot of time because you got to move each joint individually and also simultaneously multiple joints at the same time. So you would have to actually think ahead of time of how to make these things move. Or you can play a video and then try to match the motion of each bone and try to trace all the bones out and the joints out of each motion of within the video. So you would have to keep hitting pause and following each motion, which I saw somebody do that, and it takes a while. It takes a long time to do that. So I don't recommend that. I recommend actually using motion capture, which makes it much easier. It does mostly everything for you. You just have to correct it. So let's move through the timeline and see where errors are actually created. So we keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And once you get to the errors, then you can start using, like I said, you can use your the arrow key on your keyboard. So let's move this over and start moving and start moving and start moving. and bam, it looks like we're getting closer to an error. So when you see that hand come closer to the body, that's where the errors are going to start coming. So here we go. So far, nothing. There we go. Right there. So you see the finger just penetrated the skin right there. So what I'm doing, I'm going to use this bone, and I'm going to use my rotation key and just move the finger out the way with the right arrow on the keyboard after hitting the R. And then click the left click mouse button and then move to the next frame. So go to the next frame by selecting the right arrow on my keyboard, and then my finger's still in there again. See, finger's in there. So then R, rotate or hold it until it comes out. Hit enter or the left click mouse button and then do it again. Go to the next frame. And as you can see down here, switching to the next frame, to the 90th frame. I was on 89. And it will do the same thing. R. Now, if you have other frames that are not working, that are not functioning in here, then you can work on those too. But for the most part, I got it to work every frame. When I was doing it, I was cleaning up the whole thing. So some frames might jump in and out. Let's see. I don't know why in between some of the frames are messed up, but I guess that's how it is. Hold on one second. Just rotate out and then go to the next one. Rotate out. Hit enter. Go to the next one. Rotate out. Hit enter. Go to the next one. See? And then so on and so forth. So rotate out. This one takes a while because it's a lot. So whenever it takes too much, you could just use your mouse and pull it out. Rotate out. Oops. Boom. Your mouse might work faster. So I was doing it like that, basically. So let's scroll back and you'll see that it fixes and corrects that. So see, it corrected the motion. It's not really cutting through the skin now, or cutting through the texture of the outfit. Now keep in mind, on one side, what you're seeing on one side, the other side may have an error too. So when you're fixing these keyframes, you want to look on the other side as well to see what's going on there. So you might have to go back and clean it up, or you can bounce from one bone to the next bone like that. You can also use this rotate tool on the left of the screen, and that could actually help you as well. But that, to me, took a long time to rotate stuff, because you have to actually go to the wheel and then find the axes to rotate on. See, this is rotating on the z-axis. This is rotating on the x-axis, and this is rotating on the y-axis. So just wanted to show y'all folks other ways to do it, but it may take you much longer. So you go through the whole process, and when you finish the full entire timeline of all the errors, every little error, like all this going in, see how the fingers are cutting in multiple times. Once you fix all of the errors, even the feet, if you see the feet doing some weird stuff, or the joints or anything. Now, in my previous session, a lot of the joints were having errors with the feet and the arms. So, like I said, how I got rid of that, I thought since I made an error with that, I thought maybe let me fix it with the green screen. So the green screen got rid of all those errors for my leg errors. So keep that in mind. Now, another thing that you can do is go over to DeepMotion and find another solution. So the other solution would be when you actually are merging in some of your content. Let me see real quick. It looked like it logged me out. I'm gonna show you real quick what I mean. I'm gonna try to put in another video, and my other video has errors in it, but I just want to show y'all folks the difference between a good video and a video that has errors as well. So we're gonna go in and log in real quick. Hold on 1 second. Now we're just gonna act like we started from scratch and we have nothing in there. So we're gonna go custom, and then we're gonna go new character. And this time I'm gonna bring the character that I showed y'all folks in the beginning. Go to characters. We're gonna go to Mixamo, Mixamo.com, by the way. And we're gonna select this guy, the Kaya character. I don't know why it doesn't change, but it's good. It's probably a glitch on Mixamo. So you gotta kind of reload the page, and we're gonna download this guy. We're gonna get him. After downloading it, we're gonna move it to file repository area that I have for him. Okay. Open up the folder, right click, cut, go to 3 objects, and I believe Blender animation tests. And actually, let me just put them in Mixamo. Let's go back. We got 3 objects, Mixamo. Hold on. Where's Mixamo at? Right here. Let's go to animation fun. No, we're not going to do that. That's the animatable clips that I stored. Let's just call him by his name. And what was the name? Kaya. Okay, Kaya. Right click, rename Kaya, and then right click and paste in there. So we'll put him in here. So this is where I wanted him to be stored. And then we're gonna go on to DeepMotion. This is adding a new character. So we'll select the 3D model to upload. So we're gonna go to select file, 3 objects, Mixamo, Kaya, select the FBX file, and then open. See, it says .fbx. Make sure it's a .fbx. And it says right here, note, if using physics filter, your character must be sized within typical human proportions with a height of 1 to 2 meters. For best results, please make sure your FBX model meets all the below requirements. So I'm not sure exactly what the size of my character is. I could go to Blender and check and then resize it or whatever, but I'm not going to do all that. But I do want y'all to see that, you know, there's different options that you want to read into these details so you can improve on different things. Like right here it says clean FBX, include the character mesh and rigging information in your FBX file without extra information, animations and environment models, etc. You don't want all that unnecessary stuff. So yeah, this character just has the mesh and the rig pretty much from Mixamo. Let's see, it has all other different details in here. You can read all that stuff for yourself. I'm gonna click upload, and that's gonna upload your character onto DeepMotion. And once it's done doing his whatever details that it's looking for, it's gonna actually ask you for a selection of the motion clip. We're gonna choose an MP4 file that I got, and these are all the details of the differing things that you can improve on, which I improved on the occlusion and the wearing of loose clothes. I didn't have really much loose clothes besides my shirt. Make sure your max video length is allowed within 60 seconds and max size is 50 megabytes. And camera should be stationary. I talked about that in my first video on it. But make sure you have a tripod. That will help your camera to be stationary. Character placement, the entire body from head to toe should be visible. I talked about that in this video. In the previous session, I did earlier before my actual live stream crashed. Lighting, neutral lighting with high contrast between the subject and the background. So that's what I did with the green screen. There's high contrast between the subject and the background. That makes a big difference. So I'll show you folks the video upload that I'm gonna choose. And in this video upload, I think my first one was really bad and my second one was good, but I had some other ones. So with this one, as you can see, I don't know if you can see the icon. Let me see if I can make it extra large, and so you can see at detail what it looked like. Hopefully you can see, but you probably can't see it that well. But my background and my clothes kind of look the same as opposed to the green screen background here, and also with this one for sure. So I did come out with some really bad ones. I tried this one, but my feet came out of the screen. This was outside with the grass. This was one of my first ones with a character who was dancing on a stage. So the stage was very different contrast from her actual outfit. And then this character had a green screen, so it gave me a good idea to use a green screen myself. So this was from pixabay.com. This is also from pixabay.com. So my green screen is not as bright as this one with this virtual character or 3D character, but it's pretty decent. Mine was decent enough to work. So we're gonna load this one, but I'm gonna show that the feet are going out of the screen. So you go and do that. And now this is the part that I was talking about in terms of different options that they give you. You want to go into these options and check the little eye. So you see these little eyes, these will give you little information on how to adjust or how to select what you choose to select or whatever the case may be. The adjusting part would be like in what you choose to create as a custom model or whatever. You probably would want to think about that when you're doing this. Enable this option to create FBX output files, so you definitely want this to be yes. FBX frame reducer lowers keyframe frequency and converts the results into file format that supports interpolation while also reducing file size. May not work for all inputs. So I wouldn't worry too much about this. I'll leave that at no. And then the physics filter reinforces stronger joint limits and attempts to remove self-penetration. So this is the part where I did the cleanup with the self-penetration of the fingers going through certain parts of the body. So I focus a lot on this because if you want your animations to look really realistic and clean, you want to fix those things. So you might want to click yes and select that, but also double back on what it said previously when it came to the physics filter, where I read that part that it was talking about the height of the character or whatever. You want to have exactly what it says to really get the best quality that you can get out of your animations that you choose to create through your MP4 file, your video. So other than that, that's that part. Click this part where it says create animations when you're done, or you can click discard, but I recommend for you to, if you want to create it, click create. And you'll see this video should fail very miserably because, like I said, in that video that I created, you'll see my feet towards the bottom of like my leg portions will jump in and out of the video frame. So I think this is the actual video clip that failed, and it led me to think that the green screen thing wasn't working because I didn't actually try the next video until the very next day. So that just gives you a bird's eye view of what's going to happen if you try to do it. So we'll see what it looks like here. I'm just showing y'all folks different scenarios and things like that that you may be confronted with when you choose to utilize this software. So I'm going to be ending this session after all this that's shown on the screen, but I really do appreciate y'all folks for checking this out. Hopefully this helps you to improve on whatever you choose to create from DeepMotion. And I would like to, at this moment, thank the creators of DeepMotion for coming up with this software, because it's really, really, like I said, is way, way, way doper than I thought, because it can be very, very accurate depending on how you create your videos in your actual scenes that you choose to create them. if you have like a professional studio, this would work perfectly. I really do believe that you would come up with some amazing animations if you have a professional studio where you can have everything green screen. That's what I recommend. Just have everything green screen and just you moving around in the scene. And follow the distances that it says here with character placement. Make sure the entire body from head to toe should be visible, located 2 to 6 meters or 6 to 20 feet from the camera. Make sure that fits to the T. Now, as you can see, this error comes up, but I wouldn't worry about this too much. It's just a web browser error, I believe. So it says, an error occurred running the Unity content on this page. See your browser JavaScript console for more information. The error was an XDR encoding failure, but it didn't cause a problem. Trust me, if you see any problems with your video data going through, it's probably because of how you created that MP4. We're going to click OK. And let's see. Well, it actually worked. Maybe it's because I tried to use the frame thing. I don't know. But it's working. Look at this. Pretty cool. It's working exactly how I chose to create it. Interesting. Just has a slight delay, but that's fine. And it doesn't twist my hand all the way. But look at that. The video is having issues. That's probably where the encoding had an error. Oh, I had an error with the hand. Now I'm like touching my smartphone. And somehow it worked. I can't believe it. It actually worked. So there we go. That guy got dressed just like me too. It's pretty cool. Alright, so this is how the character would look just by itself. Oops. Hold on 1 second. Yo, this character looks actually really good. Amazing. Move up close. I don't know if you can see it. Look at that. That looks realistic. Really cool. Man, a shout out to the Adobe team for coming up with this character. Yikes. It looks really dope. So actually, let me remove my background. And there we go. And now you should see it like that. See how the hands are just going through each other? Things like that. So you want to fix those errors. But man, it actually worked well. This worked really well. So like I said, I'm going to be using this to create much more stuff, man. I'm going to have some really nice walk cycles, some funny stuff. Maybe I'll fall on the floor. I don't know. I'm just going to play around and try to come up with different things, man. Because it's been way too long for me not to come up with stuff on Blender. And now I'm ready. I'm definitely ready using this software. So, like I said, I hope this software is not going to be overly priced, way too high. Hopefully it's affordable for all of us and we can come up with some amazing stuff, man. And hopefully they don't get bought out. I don't want to jinx it, but a lot of these tools end up getting bought out, man. Like, come on. Why would something this dope get bought out by somebody? If they do, they should be able to offer it the same level, the same abilities, the same tooling. Give us the ability to use it. You know what I mean? Because as content creators, we can create amazing stuff, but without the money, without the big budget, without the software, we pretty much are like stuck doing rinky-dink things that don't really look that good. So other than that, there we go. Hopefully y'all folks liked what you saw there. There's not much errors in this video. I'm blown away. So I thought it was the video. It's probably the frame thing that y'all folks saw. And hold on 1 second. Where was that option at? Let's go back. Select the character. And then I think it's at that point where we selected the character. Let's try a new character again. Go in and try that same character just to see if it comes up, that option. And we'll try it one more time. This is before we leave. hold on 1 second. Animation test, no. It's in 3 objects, Mixamo, Kaya, and open. Upload. See, it says if using physics filter, your character must be sized within typical human proportions, yada yada details. Well, I guess it's after the video is added. Let's see. Actually, let me try this video here and see what that looks like. We'll put in that other green screen video. So here it is. So this point, we're gonna use the physics filter and see what it does. I think the physics filter is what caused the problem, because maybe the character is not fitting to the exact size that they want. So let's see what it does. Man, I'm telling you, this is amazing. This is some amazing stuff. I'm just blown away by how accurate it actually looks, what it can do. Now, my assumption is if the physics filter isn't done properly, it's going to do some weird looking breakdancing kind of moves. Looks like it drops into the floor. So that's not going to be due to the Java error and all that. So let's see what it does. No, it did not break into the floor. Whoa, look at that. All right, it looks cool. So I don't know exactly where that error came from, but look at that. See, the green screen works really well because look at the motion. Look at the body. Everything is so accurate. So I think the solution is to use the green screen for sure. Wow, I'm going to be playing around with more green screen and more animations to come up with a lot more dope looking stuff. That is amazing. I'm blown away. So yep, it works. So the physics filter did work to some degree, but not at the very end where he looks like he's putting an X kind of symbol with his hands. Looked like they crossed each other, but it looked like everything else worked pretty good. But yeah, there you go. Hopefully y'all folks like this live stream. I'll be doing more with Blender for sure, and getting more into the details and explaining and breaking down even more as to how these frames, the keyframes work. For those who are not really too great at it, they're not used to it. When you go to, like, say, let's start over a new character. We're going to put don't save and say we're going to go in and add that original character, FBX. So this peasant man one, import it, and it has no animations at all. Now you can see the keyframes from scratch. So the only animations or keyframe points it has is 0 and 1, it looks like. So right here, let's scroll in, zoom in, and see which points is actually marked. So actually 1 and 2. So those are probably like to get the T-pose to stay where it is. There we go. So you have 0 frames besides these first 2. These are like initiation frames. So say I wanted to get this frame moving, or this bone moving, and this one. We're going to rotate. We can move them without actually storing the frames. So say we wanted to start the animation at a certain point in pose. So say we wanted to start it there, right? Rotate the hands a little bit. I don't know. We can do the fingers. We can do all kinds of different stuff. But each bone you do basically is going to take up more time, more of your precious time. hold on 1 second. All right. So say we wanted to start here or something like that. Right now, for this frame, for this joint, for this bone, if it's a joint or a bone or both, there's nothing. See, it has no diamond in there. So you can either select this, move it. So let's rotate it a little bit. And now the keyframe's in there. See? But if you go back, it's nothing. Look at this. It's gonna erase it. See that? I went back and it erased it. It's only moving from 1 to 4, but everything else is erased. The reason why is because all the other bones and joints have no frames and have no stored keyframes. So it's going to return you back to the original initial condition that it was stated for each keyframe. So it's basically like you stored these keyframes to be in a T pose. So what you would have to do is actually do what is known as a lock-rod scale for the initiation of the keyframes. So you have to go back, hit pose, go to animation, and insert keyframe from here. Now you can choose to create a keyframe for each bone and joint and do lock-rod scale. But what you would also have to do, it would only give you a lock-rod scale just for this joint if you chose to do it for that joint. So let's just I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. What we're gonna do is use Control Z, just like using edit and undo is basically Control Z. We're gonna back out until we get the pose that we wanted. We're gonna select the A key to select all of the bones, all the joints, the whole entire armature. And at this point, we're gonna do lock-rod scale. So we're gonna do pose, hit the pose, go to animation, insert keyframe, and go to lock-rod scale. And that's gonna give a keyframe for every single joint, bone, etc. that's in the body. Because I have all of everything selected. You see everything's highlighted? When I choose that, it's gonna put a keyframe for every single one. So now if I move it, it's gonna go back to that point. So at frame 4 is when that pose is gonna start. See, so say if I wanted him to be a bird, I could literally create flapping of wings. From 1 to 4, I can mirror this, and it would literally duplicate what you see here. But I don't want to do that. I'm just showing y'all folks what can be done. So now this joint, I want to just move this one and say rotate it like that. And let's hit the back arrow 1 and hit it forward. So back to left, right, right, right. Now if you keep going to the right, you see nothing because there's no frames. See, there's no keyframes. There's frames, actually, these are frames, but they're all blank. There's 0 keyframes for each bone and each joint. So you have to go in and animate each one, pretty much. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to object mode, select the bone in the properties here, and I want to display it. So we're gonna viewport display, go in front, so we see all the bones in front. So we can do the leg bones. If say we wanted to create like a walk cycle or something, we're gonna go to pose mode, and we're gonna select just the leg joints and leg bones, and let's rotate this one, and there you go. So you can say you wanted to rotate at this point, you can rotate. See that? Now the problem with this is that you got lock rod scale at 4, and then it's going to take all the way from the 4th frame to the 19th frame to make that move. So it's going to basically move very slow if you wanted to create a walk cycle. So what you would have to do is take this frame and bring it in. Hold on 1 second. You can actually highlight all the frames and move them, or you can move individual frames. So you have to move it or keyframes I should say. So you have to move it to make it move faster in time. So now it does that move like that. See? From 4 to 6 instead of it taking from 4 to 19. So now you can just imagine how many joints you want to move in bones, and in how would you say, in unison. So if you wanted to do them together, move them together at the same time, or whatever the case may be, but you make them all work like clockwork, one after the next, and synchronize them, or make them work, one moving, the other one not moving, and then rotating, and that one not moving and not rotating. The more you move, eventually you're going to get all of the joints and bones to animate themselves based on keyframes, each frame by frame reference. So every time you move a frame, you're going to see another joint start moving and basically making its motions happen like that. But if you don't want it to be that stiff, like I said, it's better to go and use something like DeepMotion, some sort of an animation software. You can get it to have more fluid motion like you see here with him doing all his dance stuff and everything. And literally it could be you dancing like I showed you in my video. So that is pretty amazing. That's phenomenal that you can get to this point using this type of software that is available, and it's just mind-blowing what's possible. It's really mind-blowing. Like I said, I'm going to be trying to do some rap videos and all kinds of different things, but I want to have my own stuff in it. I could have used, animations years ago from Mixamo. You can go into Mixamo and find animations very similar to that. Maybe type in dance or hip hop dance, and then they come out with different dance animations and things like that. But that's not exactly what I want. I don't want exactly that. I want something to be exactly the way I want it to look. Like, I may not want to be doing this animation, this particular animation. I may not want to use this actual dance move. I want to do something different, something unique. Maybe I don't want it to look like this. But you can use these and you can put it onto Blender and it will work fine as well. Like I said, I wanted to download it to Blender. Just do it like this. Have everything defaulted and set, and just go to download. Then merge it onto Blender, and it'll just work on Blender really easy once I put in the FBX file. And for those who don't know how to use like the animation editor and all of that, and there's other options on Blender, I highly recommend for y'all folks to do research on that. And you can go and dig in, and you can learn how to use those things too. It is just, I'm telling you, it's amazing. So let's go to Mixamo, and we'll go to his folder, Kaya, and put in this one, paste, twist and dance. And let's go in, actually, I don't have him actually showcased here yet. Let's go to File, go to Import, FBX. We can have both of them dancing together. Twist and dance, and we can move him or the other one. I'm not sure, whichever one. Let's go to move, and there we go. So he's in there dancing. And why does his face look like that? It looks weird, really weird. He got like a mask. That's funny. So there you go. So he's dancing in there. Actually, let's get him in the other video. Let's delete this guy. And that was an error, but I didn't want to actually delete him like that, but I did. We're gonna go File, Import, FBX. We're gonna move the other character in. Mixamo, animation. No, the other one is in Blender, in the Blender folder. Blender, animation tests. I think it's this one. No. This one. No. Which one was it? Hold on. Oh, okay. Here we go. Put that in there. All right. So G. I think the G key moves it. There we go. Hit the play. See, and now both of them are dancing together. So we can have like a dance-a-thon, or not a dance-a-thon, but you know what I mean. Let's select these bones here and these bones, and then hide them. Oops. Let's move them back. Control Z. Select these bones, hide. Select these bones and hide. And let's see. Yo, he looks really weird with the face, man. His face looks bugged out. All right, so there you go. Now they both dancing. So that's me here dancing, and they got this guy dancing side by side. Pretty crazy, right? But other than that, I just wanted to show y'all folks other ways to use, animations and stuff like that, besides having to use what I just featured using the DeepMotion animation software options that you have, which the AI, cloud-based AI data points being utilized through an MP4 file, whatever. You can use like Mixamo.com, and come up with just the animations itself and put it in. But you can also move them in conjunction, or move them. You can use them in conjunction with each other. When I'm talking about move them, you could use them in conjunction with each other, and I think it would actually turn out to be sensational, because then you can actually create a party scene if you wanted for your, maybe you're trying to create a little movie skit or whatever. And you also can get yourself in there too. I'm gonna try to see if I could do that, just to play around, see what I can come up with. But other than that, I'm out of here. Joe Love and peace to all. Mike Pugh signing up. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, and feel free to pass this video on socially to other people if you feel it was beneficial to you and or for others. And I'll see you next time. Peace.